Now, when we speak of the events that you guys host at America's Medicare Associates and the Retirement Guys Formula, you can go to arhq.com and find an event close to you and register, go and reserve your seat. Scott, you've been hosting several educational events over the past couple of years, and especially in the past few months. So there's been a common theme with the questions that are being asked. So let's take a little time here and talk about what one of the AMA events looks like and what are some of the most common concerns seniors have when they turn 65.
Yeah, so Chris, that's thank you for that leading. Yes, I have been hosting several events over the past couple of years, and really ramped that up starting this past October in the annual enrollment period. I have discovered, I took a trip to Fort Worth, Texas, to help an advisor that we have down there with some events. He invited me down. I did a couple of events. We did a lunch and a dinner event. It was different than what I've done in the past, because I really haven't done a lot of the dinner events, and it was very successful down there. So I thought, well, what the heck? Let's try it back here. So I come back here to Ohio, and I did my first event I hosted was. Well, we had a lunch and a dinner on a Tuesday, and then we scheduled a dinner on a Thursday. And it was so successful. We had 156 people register. I had to open up a dinner on Wednesday as well. So I did lunch, dinner. Saw 135 people that actually showed up and ended up with a tremendous number of appointments out of that. So I've discovered that's hugely successful. It's a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's my element. I just absolutely love it. Troy, your first day was watching me host an event, and it was a lot of fun. And the important thing is you help people, right? So since February of this year, I've hosted. Four. We've had, 4 events this year so far. I will have seen over 275 seniors in February and March of this year. So there's a need. There's a lot of people out there, and helping them out and helping them understand exactly what Medicare is all about and the important times for them is important. Troy, why don't you add a little bit here? Take a few minutes and just share some of your experiences so far with the first couple of events that you've attended.
Well, there's been quite a bit happening so far. Like you said, we've had quite a few events happen in late February was when I started. The 21st, we already had an event at Red Lobster. And I've learned so much so far. I've learned that, I'd say the biggest thing that I've learned is that a lot of people are misinformed about Medicare and misinformed about the Advantage plans, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But so far, everything's been absolutely amazing. I'm beyond grateful that I've been given this opportunity. If you would have asked me at a young age what I want to do with the rest of my life, for some reason, 11-year-old Troy would have said he wants to sell insurance, and that's where I'm finally at. So it's been great so far, and I'm just excited for my future.
Yes, thank you, Troy. So, one of the things I'm going to do is I want to kind of give you a rundown on exactly what's going to happen, what you can expect if you attend one of our events. One thing that I want to make sure that I stress with everybody is I do educational events. For me, that's the most important thing. If you Troy is set in on all of my appointments that I make, but if you come to one of my events, I'll mention that. It's an educational event, and it's never a sales pitch. And the people that come into the office, they always say, I ask them, so what'd you think of the event? And they say, oh, we loved it, especially the Red Lobster biscuits, right? Who doesn't love this free advertising for Red Lobster, but the biscuits are phenomenal, right?
Sounds like we may be able to open up a gym event too after all this.
That's right, exactly. But I asked them, I said, so what'd you think? And they loved it. And they said, at any point did you feel like you were being sold something? And every time they say, oh, absolutely not. So the first thing I want to stress is my events are purely educational. I am here to help you. In my presentations, I go over coverages that you're going to get on Original Medicare. So we'll talk about Original Medicare. We'll talk about the coverages for Part A and Part B and Part D prescription coverage. And then I talk about the gaps that are out there. Then what I'll do is I'll talk a little bit about how you cover those gaps. For example, we mentioned in the previous segment about why you would consider a supplement. We also talk about Advantage plans. And what I do is I go through all of the coverages that both of those plans offer and help you decide which is going to be the best for you. Then what I do is I'll actually go over how you sign up. And, one of the things I always mention is, Medicare, anybody can sell Medicare, right? I mean, it's just, it's something that a lot of people can do this. And you got the advisors out there that, they pull up in their van and they open the back of the van and pull all of their flyers out and they sit and they, talk about Medicare. Well, what sets us apart? And I go through that, what we do to help people out. One of the big things we do is I will actually help you create your My Social Security account if you haven't already done so, because you sign up for Medicare through the Social Security website, right? And then what I'll do is I'll actually go through the online application with each client if they need to sign up for Medicare when they first turn 65. I'll actually help them do that. So these are things that I explain on how you actually sign up for Medicare. And then what we'll do is we'll talk about the important dates of enrollment. When can you enroll? And we'll talk about, if you are turning 65, what's important dates for enrollment for there. If you're leaving an employer, what's an important date there. So these are the steps that we go through. We talk about all of these and more. This is just kind of the 5 key points that we go through in my presentations. One thing I've learned is when you do an actual event and you're serving food, you don't want to do an hour-long event. You're going to lose people. They want their food, right? But they get a great education on Medicare as well. So then what happens is we open it up to questions, and that's where the fun really starts. I mean, people start throwing all kinds of questions, and they start throwing questions to you that are quite interesting. Troy, you've had the pleasure of actually seeing and listening to a lot of these events and hearing what these questions are. Why don't you go through a few of the questions that you stick out in your mind?
Yeah, like you said, I've been at all the events and all appointments as well, so whatever's not asked in the events is tend to asked in the appointments. Without a doubt, the most important and the first question everyone always asks is, when do I need to sign up for Medicare? Mm-hmm. And pretty early on with me working here, I learned right away, you sign up within 3 months before you turn your 65th birthday. You'll sign up the month of or 3 months after. So there's the answer right there for that one. Another question is, everyone always says, I was told. So many people say that a friends or family or an employer said I have to sign up for Medicare, and that's just simply not the case. If your spouse has a great type of plan that they're on through work, mm-hmm. and that one's just better fitting for you, then you can stay on that one for as long as you need to, as long as they're employed there. Also, a lot of people have preconceived notions of the old Advantage plans, and when we meet with the people, we notice that we completely change their minds and completely go over the Advantage plans and show them what it really is. So everyone tends to come into the meetings and says, I was told that the Advantage plan is one of the worst things, don't sign up for it. Mm-hmm. And those people that are telling them that mean well, but they're just not properly educated. Advantage plans are designed towards a different type of people, and that's why we also have supplement plans as well. So you just got to go through the 2 plans, see which ones better suits you, and that's where we're here to help. The final question that we tend to get is, several people ask if they're still working and have coverage through work, do they need to sign up for Medicare?
Yeah, and that question there is, it really depends. One of the things that, with employer coverage, if you're working for an employer that's got 20 or more employees and they are offering group health insurance, you do not necessarily have to sign up for Medicare. You can stay on your employer plan. One of the things I've said all the time is I'm a numbers nerd. Sometimes Troy just calls me a nerd, right? But I love to get into the numbers and that. And if your employer plan is going to cost you more than what Medicare would cost you, then sign up for Medicare, right? If it's the other way around, your Medicare would be less than your employer plan, or if your employer plan is less, then stay on the employer plan. And one other question I want to add, and thank you, Troy, that's very observant, because those are exactly the questions that people are asking in top of their mind, right? But another one, for some reason, I'm not real sure why this has been happening, but a lot of people are asking about their HSA contributions. So if you are contributing to an HSA is a health savings account. We talk about those with the interest rates going up. HSAs are, if you're not maximizing your contributions, you should be. If you turn 65 and you sign up for Medicare, you can no longer contribute to an HSA. Okay, so it's important to understand that. One of the last events we did, we had a couple of people that scheduled appointments and said, I need help, and I need help now because I'm still contributing. I was contributing a year ago in March, and I turned 65 a year ago and signed up for Part A. There are taxes and penalties for exceeding contribution limits. So, we talked about that. But, that's kind of, in a nutshell, a high look down on an event that we do here at at America's Medicare Associates. And if anybody is looking to find out more about our events, you can go on our website at arhq.com, click the events tab, and you can see a lot more information on what events are upcoming. If you can attend, great. If not, if you want a one-on-one appointment, Troy and I are happy to sit down with you and go through all of your needs, and hopefully you can, show up to one of our events and get some good information.
If you got the time, they would love to have you out there. Go to arhq.com, find the event closest to you, go ahead and reserve your seat. There's not a registration fee for it, but they do, like to have an idea of how many to account for. Or you can give a call directly, 419-794-3030. That's 419-794-3030.